Hi, this is Brie, the Creative Minds Coach, and today I'm going to talk about when perfectionism goes wrong. Okay, so before I get started, I'd love for you to consider asking yourself this question while you watch this video. Just let it sit on your brain. How does perfection show up for you in your work? Okay, so let's just start by defining what perfection is. So, what is it? What is perfection? Go ahead. I dare you. Go ahead. Make a list. So, here's the thing. If you could create something perfectly, what would that look like? And so many of us think that we know and we work hard to achieve this perfection, and we never actually take the time to define it. And I'm going to tell you, this question completely stumps me every single time. That logically, there can be no actual perfection, but our brains trick us into thinking that there could be. So, if this sounds like you, that your brain is tricking you in this way, then it's okay. Nothing has gone wrong. Your amazing creative brain thinks that if it can trick you into striving for the right way or the best or the perfect thing, then it's possible that we never decide to be satisfied with what we create. And we could give up creating altogether. So here's what this sounds like. Okay, it sounds like this. I can't stop until it's perfect. I just can't seem to get it right. This isn't good enough to fill in the blank. For me, this is like share. Okay. I'm worried what other people will think of this. And I want to pause right here because I'm worried what other people will think of this is I'm worried that other people will expect perfection and then we're expecting it of ourselves. So, and there's also some comparison going on here, but also this isn't good enough. There's some self-doubt in here. So this isn't meant to be comprehensive. These are just some ideas of how this could show up in some ways that it could sound like. And then the last one I came up with was I have to make it better, as if there was a way to continually make it better and make it better and make it better until it becomes perfect. And so we just keep going and then we never actually finish. All right. So the reason that you're thinking any of these things is because your awesome brain, and I've said this before, it's trying to keep you feeling if it can trick you into feeling any of the emotions that come with these things. So self-doubt, uh, inadequacy, can't seem to get it right. Maybe that comes up, right? Fear. I'm worried. I'm fearful. Okay. If your mind can trick you into feeling any of those things, then guess where we end up? Curled up in our beds, binging Netflix or YouTube, not stretching ourselves to create and doing the things we actually want to. Now, why would your brain do this? Because our brain's job is to keep us safe. It's to keep us in this comfortable space. And I know fear isn't really comfortable, but your bed is. And sometimes it's more comfortable than growing and working and feeling things like self doubt and doing the things anyway. So, on purpose, okay? Or any of those emotions that we might find with growth. All right. So, either way, it keeps us from doing what we really want. So, here's the trade off. And by the way, your brain loves you. You don't decide to be satisfied with your work or art. You don't decide what you think of your work or art and love it. And the world doesn't get to experience the awesomeness that only you can offer. You have something unique to put out into the world. And if your brain can keep you spinning in this perfectionist thinking, then it keeps you in your bed. And we don't get to see any of this and your true awesomeness. And if that happens, we are all totally missing out. I think about so many people that could have stopped doing what they were doing if they were thinking this way, and we would have missed out. We don't want to miss out on you. So, how do we get out of this perfectionist way of thinking? And I also want to say, sorry, my microphone keeps getting stuck on me. So I want to say at this moment, sometimes we want to identify ourselves as like a perfectionist. And I'm just telling you, this doesn't have to define who you are. It only means that our brains sometimes feed us this way of thinking, and we get to decide what we believe. Okay, so sometimes we have perfectionist tendencies, but it doesn't have to be part of who we actually are. Okay, so what do we love that's imperfect? I can think of so much art that's imperfect, that's amazing and gorgeous. And also, there are people who actually deliberately create imperfect work. A couple of examples, and I'll put a link to this article in the description that I found. But the Navajos put in spirit lines into their weaving. How amazing! Okay, it makes the piece. It's a little hitch kind of in the design. It's an interruption, and it's imperfect, and they do it on purpose. Same with the Japanese wabi-sabi. They create this work that's not uniform, varying textures, different. It's not perfect. And go take a look at some of it. It's beautiful and it's on purpose. And that to me is amazing. So you can also ask yourself some of these questions after you consider making something that could be imperfect. What would perfect, right, or good enough actually look like? Be specific. So I dare you to define it again. See if you can define it. You, what would that look like? If no one ever saw this, whatever this is you're creating, what would it take for me to be satisfied with? For me, it would be this photo, this project, this piece of furniture. Yeah, I build wood stuff too. So, and also, how could I embrace imperfection? Could you embrace imperfection and be satisfied at the same time? Is that possible for you? It is for me as I try and wrap my brain around those two things. All right, so the thing is ultimately you get to decide. You get to decide how you think, even if your brain offers you any of the other way of thinking. You get to decide if you believe it or not. It's completely up to you. You get to choose, and that is amazing. So you get to choose what your art looks like, and you get to make all the judgments about it for you. All right, but just decide to do. Don't stay in your bed and watch Netflix. Come on, let us see your work. Get out, go do some stuff. All right, that is it. Before I go, I would really like to invite you to subscribe to my email newsletter, join my creative circle, and you can get access to free, secret, subscriber-only videos where I teach even more in depth. And this week, I'm going to teach one short, simple phrase that could shift all your perfectionist thinking for real. All right, so you can join by clicking the link in the description. I always put it in there. So that's it. What could go wrong with perfectionism? I will see you next week. Bye.